industry news to mobile technology leaks and rumors. We cover tomorrow's tech news today. eSIM Tech News.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios Podcast, aka eSIM Tech News, episode number 234. I am streaming on a all-new setup, so I want to make sure volume is okay and everybody can hear me. Let me just... Okay, we're good. I am streaming from a new setup, so I made a quick video that I have not uploaded yet. But I will here shortly in regards to streaming, how to live stream, the different components, the different items you're going to need to live stream. Simply all from the base level, meaning literally just your phone, up to a more of a professional setup, kind of like what I have here now. I don't have the most professional setup, meaning like I built out a studio in my office, right? So but I have everything to get you going, from literally just your phone all the way up to different levels of microphones, the different cables you're going to need, possibly the type of computer you're going to need, what you need in your computer, everything from lights to these arms that you cannot see and everything. So I'm going to edit that maybe tonight and probably put it out tomorrow. So if you see me from a different angle, if it looks a little bit different, I have a new setup. I'm tweaking a few things and actually running off of a Intel NUC, the OG mini PC. Before we get started, give me 1 second. All right, how's everybody doing? Is everybody okay today? It is Sunday, November 10th, 2024. Daniel, good to see you again. Brian, hello, sir. How are you doing? Thank you for stopping by today. So we have, I enrolled the iPhone in the beta program, and it's on 18.2 beta. Still compiling. I still need to put out, kind of procrastinating about it, but I'm going to put out video comparisons, picture comparisons, and some iPhone specific videos here this upcoming week, and I'm going to do an app review, stuff like that. But getting into iOS 18.2 brings us some new features for iPhone users. Now, this is iPhone. We're going to speak about a new iPhone feature specifically. However, I'm not going to leave out us Android users. I have some tips and tricks that we will talk about after we discuss this story. So I have a news article here with a new feature actually rolled into iOS 18.1. So you do not have to have the beta version. If you have an iPhone, do not have to have the beta version to get this new feature. It's apparently rolled out in iOS 18.1, which is the stable build. Now, this feature was not announced. This feature kind of just happened, right? And I can see how, after we discuss this article, I can kind of see how Apple wanted it that way, right? So they knew at some point this feature would get announced and more users would be aware of this feature. And it's a security feature to keep you and your information on your iPhone private. even if you get in trouble. So you can get in trouble for whatever reason. You can get arrested for whatever reason, right? Basically. Now, when basically everybody has a phone now, right? And here in America, the majority of smartphone users have iPhones. So this story specifically incorporates a majority of United States citizens, and actually it is enabled across the world. So no matter where you live, if you have iOS 18.1, this feature is in your phone and you probably didn't even know it. So let me pull up this article here. There is a new article on TechCrunch, right? iPhones might be harder for police to unlock thanks to a new reboot feature. So there was new code that it's sort of, I think the story came out yesterday. I was going to live stream yesterday, and I was putting together this new mini PC, this Intel NUC. We'll get to that later, but let's get to the story. Anyways, I was upgrading the RAM and upgrading the storage and just messing around with it, so I couldn't live stream yesterday. But I was gonna get to the story yesterday. The cat's out of the bag, so it's a lot harder now for police to get into your phone on iOS 18.1. That's why it is strongly recommended. Everybody update your devices as soon as possible, whether you have an Android or an iPhone. Now, this new feature, this new reboot lockdown feature, I don't know if it is enabled on iPads. I don't know. Obviously, they're not running iOS 18.1, but they can implement this into iPads. Apple can implement this into a MacBook. I just don't know if it is. But it is in iOS 18.1. It is live in your phone if you're running that on your iPhone. Now, there's a there is a media publication, 404 Media. They are the ones that broke this story. So they reported Thursday, so actually came out a couple days ago. Law enforcement officials were warning each other behind the scenes that iPhones being stored for forensic examination seem to be rebooting themselves, something that security experts confirmed in a follow-up story. After the reboot, it is harder for those phones to be unlocked by password cracking tools. So the phones, so if you get arrested, now not just for forensic, but let's say let's say somebody got arrested for, I don't know, let's just say stalking, right? First thing that came to mind. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but whatever. If they, or a drug dealer, let's say that, right? That's probably a better scenario. Let's say a drug dealer gets arrested. And he has incriminating evidence in his phone, meaning text messages to buyers, I guess DMs too, obviously via your phone. But let's say if the police had arrested him for possible narcotics selling, right? And he's got very incriminating evidence on his phone, meaning if they looked at his messages, it's pretty clear what he was doing, right? Well, there's a new feature. This new feature, essentially the phone reboots itself, and your phone, if you know anything about phones and phone security, iPhone and Android specifically, because this not this specific feature, but in general, it is harder to get into a phone right after the reboot. So obviously, you know, when you're using your phone, let's say you put it down at Target and you're looking at something on the shelf and you come back to your phone and you want to look at something, well, it's going to pop up with I guess on iPhone, either your Face ID or your password. Android's going to come up with whatever, your pattern, your PIN, or your face. But there's actually more. There's a couple of behind-the-scenes security features, behind-the-scenes locks that are put in place immediately after a reboot. Now, again, if you just walking away from your phone and come back to it, you obviously have to put in your security to get in. However, after a reboot, it's even more secure and more locked down as far as the bootloader and all that stuff is securely locked after a reboot, not after it's already been in use. Well, the security's there, but there's just more security features in place after a reboot compared to you just normally using your phone. So Apple did not immediately respond to the TechCrunch article that we're reading. This reboot appears to take place after iPhones with iOS 18.1. So it's automatically rebooting. iOS 18.1 is automatically rebooting iPhones if they have not been unlocked or attended to, right, for a set period of time. So according to Chris Wade, founder of mobile analysis company Corellium, iPhones seem to reboot after their 4th day of in a locked state. So your phone can stay on for probably 4 or 5 days, right? With let's say it's 100% charged and you just leave it there. It has enough battery life to stay on for almost a week, right? Just in sleep mode. So if your phone is in a locked state and it has not been touched for what they're saying is a 4th day, it'll automatically reboot, which locks it down to its maximum. Matthew Green, a cryptographer and assistant professor at Johns Hopkins University, described this as a huge improvement in terms of security that probably that he says probably doesn't inconvenience anyone. But obviously the police would disagree. Let's go to the official report from who put this out. It's the article we'll pull up. Here we go. Police freak out at iPhones mysteriously rebooting themselves, locking cops out. It says, now this is the original article before before TechCrunch got a hold of this article and got a couple of security experts to comment. So they're saying law enforcement believe the activity, which makes it harder to then unlock the phones, may be due to a potential iOS 18 update which tells nearby iPhones to reboot if they have not been in contact with a cellular network for some time, according to a document. So I guess it's up for speculation. It's up for the experts to confirm. Now, I guess iPhone here, and I guess I could test it out. The one expert is saying if it sits there for 4 days untouched, it'll reboot. There's this 404 Media is saying it'll reboot if they have not been in contact with a cellular network for some time. Now, you can still be connected to a network while it's while it's on your desk, while it's in your drawer. So I think the TechCrunch comment where they got it from that security expert, I think that's the case, because I can't imagine that's kind of not a real scenario if your phone has been left unattended here on this 404 Media and without a cellular network for some time. Well, unless you don't pay your phone bill, your phone's going to be connected to a network, right? So let's see here. Law enforcement officers are warning other officials and forensic experts that iPhones, which have been stored securely for forensic and examination, do they consider snooping through a suspect's phone? Do they consider that forensic examination? I thought that was like fingerprints and stuff. They're somehow rebooting themselves, returning the devices to a state that makes them much harder to unlock, according to officials. Now, they say here the exact reason for the unboots is unclear, or for the reboots is unclear. But wow. Okay, I'm not going to pay for this, so I'm not going to get the rest of the article, but you get the point. Now, police do have. So next question would be, okay, so can they get into your phone? Can they hook a machine up to it? Is there some way to hack into these? Yes, but it's sort of like a cat and mouse game. So with every update, especially an update going like from iOS 17 to iOS 18 or Android 13 to Android 14, the hackers that create these little devices that you plug in, it's a bigger headache for them than going from iOS 18.0 to 18.1 or Android 14.1 to 14.2. Now, the device is called Cellbrite. Let me see if I can pull that up. What the federal agents are using, what some of these police departments are using. Cellbrite. It's a company called Cellbrite. You can actually hack in to people's phones. Now, you have to have the device in front of you. And I'm assuming they would need a warrant to get into your phone. Now, don't take my word on it. Depending on where you live, each jurisdiction is different. But I'm just saying in general, I would assume you would need a warrant. But this is awesome. Again, y'all know me. I love to troll Apple. I'm not the biggest fan of theirs. But when they do something good, it needs to be praised. And this is one of the things. Now, they did not comment on this story, and you can see why. Because Apple's put in a hard spot because they do want to honor in Google too, right? Android, because they do want to honor people's privacy, right? That's your phone, that's your property. All of us have very personal items, personal digital items, information in each one of our electronics that nobody should look into, right? And that's a debate. So the government's putting pressure on Apple and Google to allow these governing bodies, to allow the authorities to get into your phone to see what you've been up to. But that goes against Apple and Google, their privacy policies, right? So they want you to be, because if Apple just said, sure, we'll let you in any phone, that's kind of like, I could imagine a lot of people leaving iPhone for whatever, Android or a dumb phone or something. And same thing with Google. If they just okayed and said okay to every police request or every federal FBI request to get into your phone, that would be an issue. So let me pull up this Cellbrite, because that's why it is so imperative to update your phone. Look, I don't do anything illegal, but knowing that nobody can get into your phone and have access to your personal life, your personal information, it's imperative. And that's why Apple needs to be applauded. So check this out. Cellbrite Digital Forensics. This is what this company sells these hacking devices to the authority, like the Houston Police Department says, hey, we need, since it's a big city, they're like, hey, they contact Cellbrite and say, hey, we need 20 of these. Well, they would order them and they would get them. Now, these things are expensive. Let me see if I can pull up the price. The federal government has a bunch of these, right? I don't know if it has prices on here. Missing persons case is one scenario, especially for last person. Yep, that's a fantastic scenario. Madeline Soto. Interesting. I have not heard that. No warrant unless info is freely given up. Huh. That's to be a really serious reason to justify probable cause and to get a warrant for a person's data. And look, even if the judge, so even if the authorities say, hey, we want to get into the eSIM Studios work phone, even if the authorities, whether it be state, local, or federal level, even if they get a warrant, that still doesn't mean they might be able, that still doesn't guarantee them getting into your phone, right? If you stay on top, of updating your phone, that's why I love Pixel. If you stay on top of updating your phone, the day each and every update comes out and you update it, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's pretty freaking hard to get into your phone. Now, there's a lot of people out here that don't update their phones, or people that are using an iPhone 8 Plus that doesn't get any more updates. They get into that easy. Or just throw a random phone out there like an S22, Samsung Galaxy S22. Some people just don't ever think about that. I mean, I know it's hard for us to believe, but trust me, they're out there. I have to text my dad every month. The Pixel updates come out. Say, can you update your phone? So he won't forget. Let me see if I can get the price. I think these things so they're basically betting. I guarantee you this will not get into the iOS 18.1. I guarantee you it will not. That's why this article came out. They can't get into any of these phones. And I guarantee you this Cellbrite, this little machine, cannot get into the latest version of Android. They're just hoping and wishing and praying that whichever suspect's phone they're trying to get into has not updated their phone, or it's just an outdated phone. Let's see. Does it have a mission? Does it have a price on here? See, they don't even have their device for sale. I think you have to contact them and prove to them that you're a law enforcement, and that because somebody like me could not buy one from them. Now I could probably buy one on the black market, right, or aftermarket. But I think these things, I've seen one for sale. Now it's been a couple of years. I think they're like $3,000. They're very expensive. Let's see. Products. Let's see. What is this? It's just software. The industry standard for lawfully accessing and collecting digital data. Okay, so I guess they're selling software back. Well, when I last checked, the Cellbrite had it was like a little device. It was like the size of the stream. You can't see. It was like the size of this phone, basically, right? But it was a little thicker. It was a little thicker than this, but it's about the size of this, and you plug one into the machine, Cellbrite machine, and you plug the other into the suspect's phone. Let's see. Damn it! What the hell is this? Renew your license. Collect data from the widest range of digital devices. Oh, Jesus. See, I'm not going to do that. They're expensive. And I think they only sell... I remember looking into this a couple years ago. They only sell to... They wouldn't sell one to me. They wouldn't sell one to you. They only sell to government agencies, to police departments, or I guess cities, right? Commerce, City of Houston, crap like that. So they definitely would not sell one to me. They are expensive. Let's see. What do they call it? Physical analyzer. Why is the internet slow? What is this? You install the software on your computer, and then you connect the phone. The police would connect the device in question into the computer that has the software. which is easier to do. It's easier to sell software than to sell a physical device, right? So let's see. Uncover actionable intelligence. Highlight key insights to make quick and insightful decisions on where to focus your examinations using application insights and customizable dashboard. Visual events timeline. Build a storyline of events and zoom in on a time frame of interest with this advanced graphical timeline. What else does it do? Advanced decoding. Reassemble device and application data into readable formats with SQLite, Wizard, Python scripting, App Genie, and Hex highlighting. Ingest multiple formats. Ingest data extractions from Cellbrite UFED, Cellbrite Premium, and Cloud warrant features and other extraction tools. Streamline data with UFED Cloud or into Cellbrite Pathfinder. Users can also export data into an e-discovery solution, customize reports. Damn, so they changed it since the last time I've been on here, but this is what the police use to get into your phone. But, oh, this is what it looks like. Can I pull this up? Can I get a picture of this? That's the farthest I can zoom, really. Anyways, you get the point. You plug the phone in and it gives you a bunch of information. Now look over to the left, or excuse me, to the right. What does that say there? Oh, so here it says data for the person's phone. It says calendar, chats, device location, all that stuff. It even has the passwords, where if you have a password finder, geez. So yeah, it's imperative to update your devices, and Apple needs to be applauded for this. Now, getting back to lockdown mode, right? Oh, good evening. Nah, you're fine. We're just getting into, if you just joined us late, so we're reviewing the, I guess now, software that police use to try to hack into your phone, right? So let's say you're a suspect of whatever crime, and they need to get into your phone to try to incriminate you. Well, Apple, in the new iOS 18.1 for iPhone, there's a new reboot feature, and if your phone has been left alone, now it typically, here's it. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So what this feature does is, if your phone is left alone for a certain period of time, it'll actually reboot itself on its own, because it's harder to get into your phone or hack into somebody's phone after a reboot, after a fresh reboot, where it goes to your lock screen. It's harder to get into your phone through that than if you've just been normally using your phone throughout the day and you pick it up and get into it. So there's actually more secure features in the background, right, in the software behind the scenes, that makes it harder to get into your phone after a fresh reboot. Apple implemented that but didn't say anything, right? So the TechCrunch, the publication that put a article out, reached out to Apple. They didn't comment, obviously. So we discussed, they're kind of in between here. They're wanting to keep people's privacy, yet they kind of have to have some sort of open line of communication to law enforcement, because they can't, it's a very touchy subject, but the point is, they enabled this new reboot feature, auto reboot feature, in 18.1, and we're actually on the website of Cellbrite, and they actually they used to make a physical device you could plug into an iPhone or Android, and it would try to hack into it if your device was on a older security patch or older software version. But it appears now they don't have any more physical devices, and now they are using software that they sell to law enforcement agencies. But I guarantee you that, again, that's why it's so imperative that you update your device ASAP, every single time. Even if you're just a regular law-abiding citizen, or if you are doing something a little sketchy, no matter who you are, it's important you update your device. Now, Android is the same way. So it's actually harder to get in, not just for iPhone, but for Android is the same thing. Now, I think Google is going to implement this same feature, this same kind of auto reboot feature. I'm not going to say next month, but I guarantee you they're going to implement this same feature in Android sometime in the near future. Now, let's say you do get pulled over, right? You don't want them snooping through your phone. Again, whether you're doing something, a little shady, or you're just a regular person, they have no right to go through your phone, right? And I've seen a lot of videos online where they will snoop through your phone, and they don't have any right to. Now, I know Android has this feature. I don't know if iPhone does, but I guess I can find out. So if you're riding around, let's say you get pulled over for a traffic stop or whatever, there's something that you need to do. So, and this is available. I want to say all Android phones, which technically I believe it is if you're on Android 13 or higher. Definitely on all the newer Android phones. If you get pulled over, this will put it in a mode that's similar to the auto reboot mode from Apple. So if you have an Android phone, all you have to do is just simply hold down the power button, or you need to get to your boot menu. Watch. Now, you see there's a restart bottom right, power off bottom left, there's emergency top left, and there's a lockdown top right. Well, if you put it in lockdown, it goes into the same lockdown status. Your operating system will get locked down as if your phone just rebooted, right? So Android, and that would essentially keep your phone in a locked state like it was just rebooted, sort of like what Apple does with theirs. It's just you better make sure you put it in lockdown mode before the police take it. So once you get it into the boot menu, all you do is simply touch lockdown just like that, and it locks it. So a face unlock will not unlock it. You either have to put in your PIN or your pattern or your password. So the face unlock will not work. You gotta put in your PIN code, your password, your pattern, because if the police just snatch your phone from you and you have a face unlock, they can just hold it up to your face and get into your phone. So once it's locked, once it's in lockdown mode, there you go. And it's so easy. It's so easy. Police stop you, well, it's already in lockdown mode. Just now you have to set your power button. You have to set your power menu because I know some Android phones now. If you hold down the power button, it what does it do? It activates Google Assistant. Go in the settings. Well, it's up to you, but that's what I do. I remap it and use my power button for my power menu. But if you have an Android phone, just remember, whether it's the police or a crazy ex-girlfriend or whatever, put your phone in lockdown mode if ever in question, because then they can never use your face unlock to unlock your phone. Or just you can think of many scenarios. For iPhone, I'm not sure if it has the lockdown mode. They might. You can. Daniel says you can already set up nightly reboots for maintenance on Samsung. Yeah, that's been out for not a long, maybe about a year and a half. Yeah, I you know what? I need to do that on my. I know I reboot my phones every day, but why do that when it can do it automatically? I'm gonna set mine up here when we get off. But let me see if iPhone has something similar to the lockdown mode. Let's see. guess it would be in settings. Lockdown mode. So there is a, let's see what it says. In privacy and security, lockdown mode. Turn on this extreme protection if you believe you're being targeted in a cyber attack. What if it's in physical form, right? Like officer apps, websites, and feature functionality will be limited, and some experiences may be completely unavailable. Interesting. So it doesn't have a physical lockdown mode like what Android has. Lockdown mode is an optional extreme protection that's designed for the very few individuals who, because of who they are or what they do, might be personally targeted by some of the most sophisticated digital threats. Most people are never targeted by attacks of this nature. When lockdown mode is enabled, your device won't function like it typically does to reduce the attack surface that potentially could be exploited by high targeted, okay, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the same lockdown mode as what we just did on the Android device. Let's see. Here's what, if you put your iPhone in lockdown mode, here's what it locks down. Your messages. Most message attachment types are blocked. Other than certain images, videos, and audio, some features such as links and link previews are unavailable. So they can still get into your messages app, right? Because I used the scenario, for those that just joined us in the beginning, I used somebody that would have incriminating evidence right there on their phone. Is a drug dealer, right? You're messaging people. Well, they can just pull up your messages and see what you're doing. So this lockdown mode on the iPhone doesn't really help you out if that's your profession. Web browsing, blah, 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 FaceTime, Apple services. So you can still use the phone even if it's in lockdown mode. So lockdown mode for Android, you can't even get in your phone. Or, nobody else can get into your phone. Not even the face. You have to physically put in a password or a pattern. iPhone, you can still get in your phone and just limit some of the... It seems like iPhone lockdown mode is more geared for cyber attacks or malicious malware on your phone, because it mentioned in the very first part malicious links and stuff like that. Lockdown mode for Android is more geared towards people in the flesh, like physically they can't. If somebody's next to you, can't get into your phone. And again, iPhone's more of thinking lockdown mode, meaning like internationally somebody hacking into your phone from on the other side of the world. Interesting. Now in here, what is Apple, what do they call it? I was gonna see if I could pull up any auto reboot. Let's see if that's anywhere here in iOS 18.2. What is it? Auto reboot? No, nothing. Nothing. Wow. So it looks like it's a feature baked into iOS 18.1 that the words just now is getting out. But as I mentioned earlier, I think Google is going to implement this kind of auto reboot feature, or aka lockdown mode, in Android, probably, I don't know, within the next year. I'm assuming hopefully sooner. But this is a really cool idea, and I just wanted to kind of discuss this today. As far as this new feature, make sure everybody's aware, make sure everybody updates their phones, Android, iPhone, no matter if you have an iPad, no matter if you have a Windows computer, update your phone, your devices, please. And then I wanted to make sure everybody's aware of the end of that Android feature, that you can simply lock it down. Let's see here. is there any more news? Let me see real quick. Man, it's been a really, really slow news week. Well, obviously, y'all know what dominated the news this week was the election, but for tech stuff, really hadn't been much, honestly. Not much out here. Technology. Let's see. I've been seeing a lot of Mac Mini. Reviews. Not much else. Well, how long have I been on? 45 minutes? I'll probably call it a day. And I gotta finish recording and editing a couple things. So appreciate y'all joining me. That's about it. It's been a pretty slow week for tech news. But again, let's see here. Brian says, have another Google account. That is clean to replace your regular account so they cannot access anything they're not supposed to. Yes, I agree. Do it quickly before being pulled out of the car. Yeah, or before they have opportunity to take the phone. Definitely. Damn, that was thunder? I think it's about to rain. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Just be careful. Think this stuff out. If you got any questions whatsoever, give me a holler. I'm not an expert in this, but I think most of it's common sense, right? And if I don't know something, if you have a question, hit me up. If I don't know something, I'll find out the answer. But we always hit security and being safe with your electronic devices quite a bit, as much as I can, because it is a very, very important topic in the world of technology that doesn't get discussed a whole lot, and if it happens to you, it sure does suck. And all this, not all of it, but a large portion of all this stuff is preventable, right? So anyways, let me get out of here. I'm just rambling. If you got any questions, give me a holler. And hey, what's going on, Bama fan? Appreciate you stopping by. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing all right, sir. Let me know if you got anything, any questions. I will be here to answer. Other than that, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out. Y'all have a good rest of the day, okay? Please be safe.